So I'm coming in here and I'm feeling for the wood to tick. And when I feel the tick, then I can start entering this cut and going in. Let me start up, I'll show you. So if you look right now at the tip of this, there's no wood there, is there, right? Well, listen. Famous last words. There's wood out to here. So you've got to come back this far. Hear it? And just ease your way in. Once you get your cut going, and just keep going in. Come back and reestablish that, get better cut. What you don't want to do is take a big piece at once. There we go. It's chattery, it's dusty. And you can see how it's hitting my finger while I put the duct tape there. It gets hot. But anyway, what I'm going to do is keep working this back to where this is all the way touching, all the way around. And you can see I've got it where I want it. I'm going to work this back, and then we'll be making a bead and putting the bowl shape into the bottom of this. Now I'm making a couple light passes here with a negative rake scraper to clean up the wing. This is the only thing you can use on here except for maybe a skew. I'm just trying to get that surface as clean as possible for sanding. You can see now I've also started starting the bowl area. I've got a large bead here. I think it's going to work pretty good. Let me turn my light off. It's a little bright there for you. That's better. Weird thing is I need it, but the camera doesn't. So I'm going to take a 3-point tool, and basically 3 points on it, 3 sides. It's just a cool thing. You bring it in straight, touch the edge, and you can make a bead with it. You just have to be careful you don't dig that point in too much. So I'm just going to use this to shape the bead. I'm just scraping away. The nice thing about the point though too is you can make a nice sharp intersection of wherever you're going. So I just keep scraping this away like so and around my edge. So yeah, half my bead done right there. I could use a spindle gouge for this, but this works so well, why not do it? This is, like I said, on center and flat. You don't want to do that. Don't ask me how I know. But that's why you watch me, because you can't learn from perfect. And believe me, you must be learning an awful lot from me then. You can see it takes my favorite thing, little whispers of wood. And you can just pull yourself back and you make that neat little bead. I mean, this is really pretty much ready for prime time right there. So I figured I'd leave the bead large because it's a much bigger piece of wood. That's kind of cool. I might refine the shape just a little bit, and then I'm going to go in here and we're going to dish it out. As you can tell by the sound, I've significantly picked up the speed now. And I've also made sure that I sharpen my bowl gouge so I get a nice clean cut. And make sure I completely cover Brian with shavings. Push it on through. I want to leave a little lip up here. Keep feeding it through. Don't want to take too big of a cut, so I'll back off a little bit there. There we go. If you notice, you'll see these little dark lines. That's from this part of the tool hitting the wood as I push, so it doesn't have a curve to it. So it's always going to rub. But I have a fix for that. Without having to regrind my tool, I'll just go to a different tool. It's like it's snowing Australian Burl in here, isn't it? One last pass on this. There we go. Now, I'm I'm gonna stop this because I don't want to do this while it's moving. I want to raise this up a little bit so when I put this up here, I'm on center, just like that. You can see I refined my bead a bit. I have a little shelf there, so it's kind of looking pretty. Anyway, this is a negative rake again with that up on top, so it allows me to come in here like so and just make some really nice passes. This is a big, heavy Thompson tool. This is a thick piece of steel, and I need it because I need it to take all the shock and absorb everything. I'm sticking the tool way out over there and I don't have any vibration. So I'm just going to worry this down a little bit. Then I will sand everything. You see those black marks are gone now? I'm going to sand everything and we'll be ready to put a finish on here. Well, it looks like I've dressed it up a bit, right? I've actually taken some painter's tape to cover the bead because when I start using this, I don't want to run into the bead and destroy that shape. And then once I've done sanding this, I'll actually take tape and go around here, so when I sand the bead, I don't put any marks back onto here. And then I can sand the center. But same thing we did before. Just bring the speed up nice and slow. And then have your helmet fall down off your head. There we go, okay. And you have a breathing protection on, and it really helps if you plug the thing in. Okay, hang on. There we go. Much better. Now we're getting ready to put a finish on, and oh crap. Ah! I forgot I had hair on my hand. On the top, not on the palm. Anyway. So, after that much hard work, you obviously want to have a little fun. Now, that's my new fun thing I found for putting finish in. This is Watco Danish oil. And this is the smallest solo cup I could ever find. It's cool, huh? Anyway, this is where it all pays off, everything we did. First, let me show you. Got a little dust on here, but it's going to come off. This is oil I'm putting on. So you got the rim, you got a little detail on the edge, you got the shelf going in. Check the bottom out. Now, is that cool or what? It's got the sapwood with some of the dark wood coming through. I think it's really cool. So you just have fun now. You basically just load this thing up. With Watco Danish oil, you put on a nice coat. Cover everything. Look at that wood. Oh my God, this is like woodturner's porn right now, guys. Enjoy that. Yeah. You have to have a cigarette afterwards. But anyway, with the Watco Danish oil, you put it on here, leave it sit for 30 minutes, then you rub it off and you put on a second coat. So anyway, that is what this is gonna look like.